Every single day, professionals out there, we're talking engineers, project managers, financial analysts, they're all staring into the face of the unknown. They have to make these huge, high stakes decisions, a lot of the time with incomplete information. It's like this constant battle with uncertainty. But what if I told you they have a secret weapon, a structured way of thinking about the unknown? And we're going to break it down right now.
So this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? In a world that's just jam-packed with variables and unpredictable stuff, how do the pros actually get a handle on it all? Well, it's not about having a crystal ball, that's for sure. It's about having a system. Specifically, a framework, like the one in the IEC 3110 standard, which is designed to help you think clearly when the path forward is, well, pretty foggy. And that whole system? It starts with a really powerful shift in how you think. This international standard, IEC 3110, gives us this incredibly simple but profound definition. Risk isn't just about bad things happening. No, it's the effect, and that could be positive or negative, of uncertainty on what you're trying to achieve. Just thinking about it that way, it changes everything.
Okay, so if risk is just the effect of uncertainty, how in the world do we manage it? Well, it turns out it's not guesswork. It's actually a structured process, kind of like a blueprint that can turn total chaos into real clarity. Let's walk through what that blueprint looks like. And here's the crucial part. The best in the business don't just sit around and react to problems as they pop up. Nope, they are proactive. They have a clear, repeatable process that lets them get out ahead of uncertainty to really understand it and maybe even make it work for them instead of against them.
And this is that journey, right here, straight from the standard. It all starts with a solid plan. Then you gather your info, your data. Step 3, that's where the magic happens. You apply the specific techniques. After that, you've got to review what you found. And finally, maybe the most important step of all, you use those insights to make better, smarter decisions. Think of this as the user manual for the toolbox we're about to open. And speaking of that toolbox, it is time to crack it open. See, the IEC 3110 standard isn't just a process. It's a whole catalog of these incredibly powerful analytical tools, and each one is designed for a very specific kind of problem. Now, we can't possibly cover all of them today, but we are going to pull out 3 of the most useful and, frankly, most visual tools from the collection. These are the kinds of instruments that professionals use every single day to take risk apart, see how it ticks, and make it understandable for everyone. All right, first up, we've got a tool with a fantastic name, the Ishikawa diagram, but you probably know it as the fishbone diagram, and for a very good reason, as you're about to see. So look at this. You can see the head of the fish, right? That's the problem, the effect you're looking into. And all those bones branching off, those are all the potential categories of causes. Things like people, methods, machines, materials. The real power of this thing is that it completely prevents tunnel vision. Instead of a team just fixating on the most obvious answer, this forces them to systematically explore every single possible angle. It makes sure no stone is left unturned. Okay, our next tool also uses a really powerful visual metaphor. It's called the bow tie analysis. And where the fishbone looks backwards from a problem that's already happened, the bow tie gives you this amazing 360-degree view of a potential event in the future. And this just brilliantly tells the whole story of a risk. Right there in the center, the knot of the bow tie, you've got the risk event itself. Over on the left, you've got the threats that could cause it and the preventative controls you have to stop it. Then on the right, you've got the consequences if it happens anyway, and the recovery controls to minimize the damage. It is an incredibly powerful one-page summary, perfect for showing the whole plan to leadership in a single glance. All right, our final tool is one you've probably seen before, even if you didn't know its formal name. It's the consequence/likelihood matrix, but a lot of people just call it a risk matrix or a heat map. This thing is an absolute cornerstone of risk reporting. This tool is all about one thing: prioritization. You rate each risk on 2 different scales. How likely is it to happen, and what's the damage if it does? That combination places the risk on this grid. The real danger zone is that red area up top. High likelihood, high consequence. Those are the issues that need your attention right now. But here's a pro tip. Its biggest weakness is that it can be subjective. The best teams define their scales really clearly before they start plotting, and that turns potential arguments into a really productive, objective discussion. So, we have all these fantastic tools, right?
But just like a master carpenter, a professional risk assessor knows it's not just about having the tools. It's about knowing which one to use and when. And that's where the analysis becomes a real craft.
Yeah, you don't just pick one of these at random. The selection process has to be deliberate. You got to think about it. How complex is the situation? How much data do you even have? Is that data any good? And what do your stakeholders actually need to see to make a confident decision? The standard is super clear that matching the right tool to the right task is a critical skill. And here's a great little cheat sheet for what we've just talked about. The fishbone, that's your go-to when you need to do a deep dive into the root causes of something. The bow tie, perfect for when you need to understand and communicate all the controls around one specific big risk. And the risk matrix, well, that's your essential tool for evaluation and reporting, helping you figure out where to focus your precious time and resources.
You know, at the end of the day, all of these processes and tools, all of this analysis, it's all driving towards one single purpose. It's all about bridging that gap between just having data and actually making a great decision. So let's quickly recap the big ideas here. First, let's start thinking about risk differently. It's just the effect of uncertainty on your goals. Second, you have to embrace a structured process. Don't just react. Third, remember that you have a whole toolbox of techniques ready to go for all kinds of situations. And finally, using these tools as a craft, knowing how to match the right technique to the right problem is what turns simple analysis into true insight. If you only take one thing away from all this, please let it be this. Professional risk assessment isn't about trying to create a world with zero uncertainty, because that's just impossible. The real goal is to understand that uncertainty so deeply that you can make smarter, more confident, better informed decisions because of it, not in spite of it.
And that leaves us with one last thought for you to take with you. Now that you've seen the blueprint and you've peeked inside the toolbox, what's the biggest uncertainty affecting your goals? In your work, or maybe even in your life, that you haven't really stopped to look at yet? What's out there, just waiting to be understood?